stressful. I feel like just given that we didn't know what we were doing
I think it would have been
halfway through the semester.
Yeah, it's the halfway part that got me pretty good. Because I think if we had the whole semester to do this online, it would have been okay. And then if we had the whole semester to do it like we normally would, it would be okay. But kind of having to switch gears so fast in the middle really, I think, screwed a lot of us up.
So everyone, thank you for coming into the Zoom. I'm trying to stream this live too, so if you have privacy rights issues, hide yourself. And we'll just open the floor. We also have a chat open. Yes, that is my father. My father is joining us tonight. Roger Kerner is in the space. And so you can chat questions at us and we'll throw them out there or click your mute button, come in. And we also have a chat open. Yes, that is my father. My father is joining us. Okay.
Now the loop starts.
Oh, did I start a loop? How did I start a loop?
No, I think someone else did.
Somebody in the chat has their volume too high.
Everybody mute. Yes, that is my father. My father is joining us.
Now the loop starts.
Oh, did I start a loop? How did I start a loop?
No, I think someone else did.
Somebody in the chat has their volume too high.
Everybody mute. My father is joining us.
Now the loop starts.
Oh, did I start a loop? How did I start a loop? I just muted everyone. All right, so let's see here. Who would like to speak? Raise a thumb here. I'm not used to managing this big of a group. Anyone have a question for our actors? Brianna Fabian, one of our German majors, asks, how much was this done live over Zoom and how much, how did it work? How did you guys put the show together? Can you turn off your own mute buttons? I'm gonna unmute.
Yeah.
Okay, you can, excellent. So go ahead, take it away.
Well, so what was like live tonight was that initial opening where we were all arguing, the one part in the middle right before the Gretchen Tragodia, and then the bit at the end where all of us were speaking. Those were all live. Everything else we like pre-recorded, did some editing magic and stuff.
Yeah, there would have been a lot of time for like costume changes in between takes and, you know, doing the sound editing and everything else. And if all of this crashed, then we wanted to have something that we were able to stream to the public either way. So it was a good backup method, and that kind of helped us.
We wanted to integrate as many mediums as we possibly could, given that we have this platform, like having the animation, having the puppet shows, having the live parts of it, just because we need to disperse it up in some way, because when you're not doing it live, you can't engage the audience as well as you can, like online, I suppose. But it was a lot of work and a lot of love.
Dr. Kroner, I think
Yes.
a few people were wondering if you could send the link to the Zoom in the chat again.
I will send it out.
Yeah, and a couple people are trying to get in and they say they're just waiting. They say they clicked on it and they're just waiting there.
So Stephen Loghead, I apologize if I pronounced that poorly, says, how far did y'all get into the writing process before you had to make the switch to doing it online?
The entire way into it.
Halfway, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, we had gotten through brainstorming, and then we'd come up with all these ideas, and then essentially we got kicked home, so we had to restructure it.
Yeah, we were starting to put scenes together and everything in class. We went home. We're finishing writing everything over spring break, and then get told everything has to be online.
And I think since we were writing a lot individually as well, some people were further ahead than others. So I think, Alyssa, you were pretty much done with your scene, and then you kind of had to reformat it completely, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't terribly bad given my scene was that animated one at the beginning and it was pretty short. Doing the animation was the hardest part. Writing it was pretty easy, but yeah, it was a little tough, but I got through it, as did everyone else.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting because originally we had planned to, on the stage, have Valpurgis Nacht and the cathedral, the dome scene together simultaneously and then go back and forth. And then we had to somehow introduce it into this medium. So it was a lot of wonderful animation and audio by Ben and Quinn that made that even possible.
Yeah, and I should give a shout out to our technical editors because they did a tremendous amount of work, starting with Quinn, who put in all last weekend on the Gretchen tragedy. Alyssa learned a new animation tool to create that beginning. Cyril Langston edited that entire radio play, which, I mean, and they just sent her all the lines separately and she pasted them together. Great acting in that radio play, by the way. And then Madison Marley put together the end, the final 2-minute bit based off of Jelinek's play, Elfriede Jelinek's play Faust In and Out.
And also Ben did a lot of sound editing too.
Thanks for mentioning Ben. Sorry, Ben.
All good.
I'd like to compliment the advertising people. That I mean, I thought the Werbungen were marvelous, and that was just put together very recently.
Do you mean the poster, Gene?
No,
commercials.
the actual ad, the coffee and the body spray.
Oh yes, sorry, the commercial teams. That all happened very last minute, and we had some amazing ones. They were fantastic. Yes, I agreed. So any other questions from the audience? You can ask us anything, ask the cast anything about process. We started off with a question from Stevie before other folks got in here. Maybe we can go back to that while we're waiting for people to think of questions. Stevie, who's an alumna of our program and who's taken this class, asked, we have 2 students in the class, Alyssa and Kara, who have been in the show 2 years ago when it was actually live and in person. And when the show ends, it's not just this clown clapping at everyone and then you wait for people to come into the Zoom. Sorry, I'm processing that still. So she asked, how is it different this time around? Like what happened? What was the big difference for you when the switch happened from previously?
I can go ahead and speak to that. So it was different in the sense that theater is such a close-knit type of expression, right? It's kind of hard to portray the feelings and the message you're trying to get across over an online format. And 2 years ago when we did this, at least for me, I don't know about you, Alyssa, but it was, we kind of like the class kind of bonded together through like the physical kind of aspect of it. And I think what was really different was this year, we kind of had to bond together through tragedy kind of. So
I think you're so right. We were all really close in that class 2 years ago. And I mean, we definitely have bonded in different ways through Zoom. And in some ways it's been a lot of fun to be able to do this, but also kind of tragic that we can't see each other in person. You're right.
Dr. Nino asked if we had a playlist.
Or we can get one together.
Yeah, I don't think we actually planned too terribly much on the songs. We just kind of did what felt right with it. We tried a few different covers for like the Earlish song and things like that, and just kind of made it work. The ones we did specifically were Hex 9 Lines, because we found that rock opera and everybody kind of just loved it. And then Rammstein, I think we just added that in today, didn't we?
Yeah.
I think that was
a last minute choice.
Yeah, right at like 4:30 or something.
Yeah.
Question for the rest of the cast. I already asked a different version of it. What was the experience like for you guys switching from, we had that last rehearsal, we got a picture in with the amazing Danny Delgado, who took that picture for the poster, and then poof. I remember Cyril asking the day of that class, so what happens if we don't come back? And I was like, we'll improvise. But so how did you experience that, coming back and then holding class on Zoom? You want to comment on that, any?
I can comment on it. I feel like this class helped this transition for me so much, because I had something to go to that was just like guaranteed distraction and something nice and silly. And it's so ridiculous trying to do this over Zoom, and you can't hear each other half the time, and you keep getting kicked out because your internet. But it was so nice to just, we're all in it together, having this weird once in a lifetime opportunity that we're probably never going to have again. It's a weird bond that we have at the end of this.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. And it's a tricky thing, because you're trying to figure out facial expressions and emotions, which are a lot of the time, in my experience from other acting classes, you kind of do it on the spot, you do it with someone, you make it organic. And it's kind of hard to do an organic thing in this medium. It's kind of like actors that do green screens. You're kind of talking to a prop and not a person. So it's kind of hard to emphasize those emotions, if that makes any sense. That was my feeling. I don't know about the rest of the cast.
Yeah, I agree. And for the talk show group, it was really hard because we had planned so many like fights, like physical fights and physical gags like that. And we had to figure out a way to like make it to have that same effect, but on video, which was really difficult.
Yeah, it was something kind of similar with Strasza, because like it was something about having everyone together there and like having Faust's creepiness. So it was kind of hard to get that back over video, and having to up the creepiness so that it still stayed.
But you made it creepy, Quinn. You made
Yeah,
it
I don't know if I should take that as a compliment though.
Very creepy, Sock.
Very creepy. I was scared. I was very scared.
Yeah,
Good job.
it wasn't fun recording that.
We have a question from Professor of Theater, Susan Catwinkle. She says, esoteric theater faculty question. What did you learn about how theater communicates emotions versus how other forms of communication, like the ones we used tonight, do it? In other words, do the characters get in the way of narration, or do they add to the story? Let's take the first part of that question. How is it different, communicating emotion in this space?
You have to exaggerate a lot. I mean, all you see is like this little square of someone's face, then you just have to like really accentuate like what you're doing. So if you want to, I don't know, be super old or whatever, you gotta like kind of method acting, like hunch over a little bit and like just do that voice for the people to hear in the video, or do whatever. So that was definitely one thing that I noticed, is that where we started off being like, oh, okay, yeah, we're just gonna like do this normally, like as if you're talking on Zoom normally, and then we realized, oh, we have to really step it up and like make everything exaggerated so you can see it.
Yeah, because you lose a lot of the like body language when you cut out like the entire lower half of your body and everything.
Yeah, especially with the parts that we didn't have video. I know for the montage, we kept recording the voices, and Dr. Kerner was like, more, we can't see you, we need to hear your emotion. And I was like, I can't do any more emotion. I think it's also kind of like you have to let go, kind of, and you really have to be more silly than you would be willing to do in person. Like when we were running through it, earlier, Quinn, you messaged in the chat when you threw your book, you're like, my book ended up in my bathroom.
Yeah.
It's been one of the more fun things, is the group chats and just these messages that we've all been sending each other throughout the entire thing. It's just, yeah, it's made it a good time.
Yeah, it kind of bonded a sense of community that we weren't expecting to have, but we did. And we kind of all fostered together through that, I think.
I think a lot of people, we have one question from Stevie about the Me Too scene at the end, which is based off of Jelinek's play. It's Madison Marlish, who is still in the space, I believe, put together that scene. Madison, you want to talk a bit about how you put that together and what the original text was like and what you did to it?
Madison had a bit of an emergency, but I can speak a little bit about it if you'd like.
Go ahead.
Madison's a really close friend of mine, so I was with her a lot when she was kind of going through this. She really just wanted to kind of embody the creepiness of Faust and kind of apply it to like the modern era that we're going through at the moment, and kind of apply what we read through Goethe to, again, like what we're experiencing today. But other than that, I can't really say much else.
I can say a bit about that text. I mean, the text is like 50 pages long. You can look at it online. It's called Faust In and Out by Elfriede Jelinek, Nobel Prize winning author, who writes these massive endless texts without characters that are deeply disturbing, satirical, and don't really offer you any way out. And this was even probably the most disturbing and satirical one I've ever read by her, because it focuses on this story that you read about in the program. To sort of criticize Faust and talk about romantic ideals and so on. But in any case, Madison did what a lot of famous German directors do, which is the text is a provocation that she responded to by refusing to stage all of it, by cutting it from it. But also those last 5 lines about Me Too, they were from Madison, they were not from Jelinek. Jelinek would have never put something that positive and hopeful in a play. But her plays are kind of written to do that, to make you react and think, okay, I refuse to accept the status quo, this horrific status quo of this play that it's presenting to me, and I'm gonna do something else. And that's what Madison did and I had nothing to do with it. She just sent me the copy and said, this is what we're doing. Five women, 1 man, they're gonna go through the text 4 different times. The last time it's from me, and she sent us the video. It's simply amazing and powerful.
Yeah, I think it's important to note like the time frame of where it was written and the things that were happening in it. And all of us throughout the semester, we were reading it and we were deeply creeped out, shocked by some of the text. And we all throughout the entire semester, we were like, Widerstand. We have to talk back to this. We have to rebel against it a little bit. So that's why we did some of the things that we did, I think, throughout the writing process and the staging process, all of it, I really think.
Yeah, especially reading through the Gretchen tragedy, like as I was going through, I just kept thinking about back to like my little sister, because like this girl was like 14 with this man. While he looked young, he's like at least 40 years older. It's just disgustingly creepy there.
Dr. Nana wants to know if your sock puppets are available for parties, Quinn.
I can give them to her.
You can rent them out.
So I realize this seems to be a theme with you, Quinn, because in the Skandal course that we had, you also did something with a sock puppet. So
yeah, the axolotl.
Yes.
Goethe just first found out about the Faust legend when he was a child, because it was performed in puppet shows. The original legend was, and that's where you learned about it. I found it really appropriate that we ended up using puppets.
At least I didn't have to do any weird voices for these puppets.
Yeah, exactly. Totally. Like, yeah. Oh, you're muted, Doctor. Okay.
I want to congratulate. We had a rehearsal at 4 p.m. today where we were trying to figure out how to unmute and mute, and it worked out tonight. Congratulations, everybody. I don't think there are any other questions really. So what I want to do now is give you guys the applause that you so deserved. That really broke my heart when it just went silent at the end and it was just me. So I'm going to unmute everyone. We'll give you some applauses, and then we'll do, stand up and take your bow, please. Let's do that now. Okay.
Bless you.
Yay, well done.
Bravo!
Congratulations.
Bravo!
Bravo.
Bravo!
Well done.
Thank you all for tuning in. I'm going to end the stream, but we'll stay in the space if anyone wants to talk a bit more. Thank you all for joining us tonight and giving us an hour of your time. We made it to the end of class, everyone. We just exams and then collapse in a pile. All right.